Hello everybody. This is the moment you've all been waiting for, 5 o'clock. And we're going to say a few words about human rights, human decency, and the actions of corrupt politicians that pervert sensible justice. It's very important to stand up for free speech and free discussion, and that's why we're here. We don't claim to be right, we don't claim to be dogmatic. This is a free speech zone for discussion. And everyone is welcome, provided they're polite, to get up and say a few things about what they think's great about Australia, what can be made better. Because at the end of the day, our real purpose is to make things better for all Australians and all human beings all over the globe. The fundamental problem is human rights. And our human rights have been stolen little by little by little with hate speech laws and misinformation laws that Albanese tried to bring in last year, which thank heavens didn't go through because of the independents all voted against it. But it wasn't about misinformation at all. It was about being able to silence the truth, because the truth is what wrongdoers are afraid of being revealed. As they say, the barristers down in Phillip Street say, defamation laws protect the wrongdoers. And so it is with their anti-free speech laws. It's time. I've got a wonderful quote here by George Washington, the man they named Washington after, one of the great founders of the wonderful American Republic. What he says about free speech is this: if the freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. Dumb and silent, we may be led like sheep to the... This is exactly what the Bolsheviks did, what all dictatorships do. They make people afraid to speak the truth. They start picking up people that criticize their tyrannical regimes, and everyone becomes very afraid to speak because they don't want to be picked up in the middle of the night. Very, very dangerous. They're doing it. There is they make no apologies for it. They are so brazen and so bold. And they tell us it's about protecting us. It's about protecting children. No, it is not. It's about protecting them. So anyway, everyone's welcome to get up and say a few words. Please, if you think I'm wrong in what I'm thinking might be the case, I'd be very happy to be better informed, because we all need to discuss things together in a polite manner. They're working very hard to divide all groups of people, divide Christians and Muslims, and divide Muslims and people of all other nationalities and religions. It's a trick. It's a trick. They use division to get us fighting each other, to divert attention from the people above that are orchestrating this division. Don't fall for it. When they come out with some anti-Islamic speech or with some anti-Semitic ideas, anti-Islamic ideas, anti-American ideas, we're the citizens. We're all happy together. This is about governments trying to divide us, to justify their wars and their phenomenal theft of public money. So stand up for free speech or you'll lose it. And the longer we fail to stand up for it, the quicker we're going to lose it, I can assure you. Anyway, does anybody out there want to say a few words about free speech or human rights? Have you all had your 13th booster? When they get the digital ID, you won't be able to go anywhere or spend any money without their permission. They'll be able to control everywhere you go with surveillance and with this digital technology. And if they come out with another absolutely fraudulent pandemic with vaccines that killed people. There's no doubt about it. They killed people. They said they were safe and effective. They were not safe, and they knew they were not effective in the first weeks. They lied. And if you believe them, you'll be the bunny again. Your children will be the people with vaccination injuries. These companies like Pfizer and Moderna, they are the most criminal companies in the history of commerce. You believe them? You believe the media? You believe the government? That's what it's all about. If you want to say a few words, please.
Can I just check your science degree on this? Can I check your science degree?
I'm quoting some of the leading epidemiologists, vaccinologists, biologists, people that have been developing vaccinations all their life, the most university professors. There are thousands of them. Are you aware? Are you aware?
Can you give me names?
Yes, I can. I can give you a lot. You go and look up the Great Barrington Declaration. There was 45,000 doctors and scientists that said the government's pandemic diktats were bad. It's called the Great Barrington Declaration. And you will see thousands of professors, including from Harvard, Yale, and all the greatest institutions in the world. You're listening to the media and your university professors that get paid to indoctrinate children. It's absolutely evil. So you make this...
Is this looking at just from a perspective of they thought that original diseases were spread via stuff on doorknobs, and then later it was found to be airborne?
They've done extensive research on contagion. People have been able to catch a cold from someone else. They've done it for 40 years. There's been scores of experiments, and they have never been able to prove you can. They've never been able to prove you can catch a virus or a disease from anyone who is ill. It's never been proven. Okay, yeah.
Have you heard of parvovirus?
No.
Cool.
No.
So, just checking, is your knowledge about disease purely from...
It's so evil.
I'm listening to experts. That's where my knowledge comes from.
humans, or is it for all animals?
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that they've done studies on humans, and they've never been able to prove that you can catch a virus or a few from anybody else.
If they did it to prove that in dogs, for example,
Yeah.
would you say that, okay, humans are too different from dogs?
I don't know. That's
Okay.
something that's not mine. I don't know that.
If you want me to look into my research, look into the parvovirus.
You look, there's a book called Can You Catch a Cold? There's a fellow called, spent 4 years researching all the research, trying to find evidence that they'd proved that you can catch a cold or a virus or influenza from somebody else. His name is Dan Reuters. Dan Reuters, Can You Catch a Cold? Go and look at that, and then you'll understand what real research scientists are saying.
I'll look into that, you look into parvovirus, and
Right.
we can discuss next week.
Good man, good man. Thank you. Anyway, folks, stand up for free speech or you'll lose it. Stand up for medical freedom or you'll lose it. They're going to come out and tell us there's another dreadful pandemic. We're all going to get killed with bird viruses and you'll have to take 17 vaccinations. Don't fall for it. They'll tell us they have to protect us from misinformation on the internet. If they really wanted to protect us from misinformation, they would stop lying to everybody. That's a fact.
Tui's new virus.
Tui's new, yes. Anyway, folks, please feel free to come up and have an opinion. We're trying to make things better. We've got the best country in the world, but we've got to stand up to protect our rights being stolen.
Hi folks,
Welcome to this lovely wet Friday afternoon. We're here to raise your awareness of what our government is doing to us while pretending to protect us with their e-safety laws and their misinformation laws and their desire to get rid of cash. They want a central bank digital currency and they want your biometric ID. And once they have achieved those things, they will have a similar control over you as do the Chinese Communist Party in China. And they introduce it very softly. They offer the carrot more than the stick. So in other words, if you behave yourself and say nice things about Mr. Xi Jinping, you'll get extra points. You'll get extra money. You'll get extra privileges. Certainly in the last couple of years since they've introduced the central bank digital currency, they've been extra nice. And when I hear reports from people who come back from China, they report that everything's sweet, that it's running like a Swiss watch. It's a very ordered society, the streets are clean, people are well behaved. It sounds great. Why wouldn't we want it? Don't we want clean streets and well behaved people instead of ruffians like me? Well, the trouble is that when you give somebody total control, you depend on them being a nice person, benevolent person. And as long as they're benevolent, then things go well. But if they're only pretending to be benevolent for a short period of time, enough time to bring in a biometric digital ID and remove cash and bring in a central bank digital currency. We already know they've got the surveillance. I forgot to mention, they also need track and trace digital surveillance, but we know from 12 or 13 years ago, thanks to a guy called Edward Snowden, who used to work for the NSA in America, he blew the whistle and let us all know that everything we say and everything we do is being recorded. Not just the bad guys, all of us. Everything we do and everything we say on our phones, on the internet, is being recorded and is being taken down and will be used if needed. So the first step in this process took place many, many years ago, and that is your privacy. You no longer have privacy. Well, as long as you carry a mobile phone around. I know a lot of people that have stopped carrying smartphones and they carry those cheap little flip phones because they're dumb phones, which means you can't be traced with a dumb phone. You've got to have a smartphone. By the way, smart doesn't mean it's an intelligent phone. Smart is an acronym. It's the initials for surveillance, monitoring, and reporting technology. That also goes for your smart television, your smart fridge, your washing machine, your electricity meter, your smart electricity meter, your smart car. People have smart cars now.
You talk to them.
Yep. Anyway, that's the beginning. That's when you lost your privacy.
I'm not taking the Kingswood.
I've just been asked if I'm taking the Kingswood. I think that's a reference to the castle. Now, the climate crisis is a good one to talk about. I like talking about the climate crisis. I've been involved with the climate crisis now for over 50 years because I'm a real old bloke who went to university more than 50 years ago. When I was at university, they said climate change is coming. The pollution in the atmosphere is going to block the sun and the temperature on Earth is going to go down and it's going to trigger an ice age. And by the way, we're at the end of an interglacial period. We're due for a return to a glaciation stage. And the fossil record reveals that the temperature on Earth leads. In other words, when you look back at the fossil record, the first thing to happen is the temperature goes up. The next thing to happen is the level of carbon dioxide follows the temperature up. And then the third thing that happens is that the amount of life on Earth increases. So as the temperature goes up, the carbon dioxide follows it, and the amount of life on Earth follows it. It's a very simple correlation. Professor Ian Plimer is the expert who I'm quoting here. He's the South Australian he's more than a geologist. Anyway, he will tell you that conversely, when the temperature goes down, and this is why I was very concerned 50 years ago when I was told that we were returning to a glaciation, to an ice age. And that is the life on Earth almost disappears during an ice age. Very, very, very few things survive. The birds are the classic. The birds are the survivors because they've got the mobility and they can fly and find food and warmth and whatever they need to find. But most land animals, particularly the big ones, pass away. And we have a reduction in life on Earth. So this idea that the temperature on Earth is going up and that's connected with an increase on carbon dioxide, and that this coordination of Earth's reaction to solar activity, by the way, all this is driven by the sun, that is somehow going to lead to a devastating loss of life on Earth is complete and utter nonsense. Nonsense in the true sense of the word. It is nonsense. As is most of the things that the government tell you. When they tell you they want to protect children from pornography, And instead of banning pornography and tracking and tracing purveyors of pornography, which they could do in the blink of an eye, they don't do a thing to the people that are producing the pornography. And instead they say, oh, we'll protect your kiddies, we'll just stop them going on YouTube and learning about the natural world. We'll just dumb your kids down. Guess what? They're not doing it for that reason. They're doing it so they can force you, when you're over 16, to get a biometric digital ID so they can track and trace you. And if they think you're driving your car too much, or if they think you're eating too much meat, or if they think you're travelling too much, they can stop you. They can control your money. I had a little taste of it actually a couple of weeks ago. Commonwealth Bank of Australia locked my trading account because I took some money out of an ATM. I've been with the Commonwealth Bank for 68 years. They didn't even apologise.
Did they tell you?
Well, my account was gone.
Yeah, but did they tell you that they had stopped it?
Yes, they told me, they rang me.
They rang you?
And they told me that they locked my account because they were worried about a scam.
Okay.
And I said to them, it's not a scam. I took that money out of my local ATM, as I regularly do. Wasn't a first. I'd done it many, many times before. It was a repeat performance. I even explained to them that because they're charging me $100 a year for my credit card, that I want to get rid of my credit card and I want to go back to using cash. That's why I get a lump of cash out regularly at my local ATM. I said, well, can you please unlock my account? And they said, first, sir, we'd like to ask you a few questions. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, first, I'd like you to unlock my account. Then I'll answer your questions. I'm sorry, sir, I can't do that. Do you gamble? She said. Do you gamble? And I said, I'm not going to answer that. That's my business. That is my business. I am not going to answer that. Well, she said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't unlock your account unless you answer it. So I said, you're holding my account to ransom to force me to answer personal, private questions. She said, yes, unfortunately, I am. And I said to her, I said, ma'am, do you think that is fair and reasonable to do to a loyal client who's been with you for 68 years? The phone went silent. And I realised that if she had supported me, she would have lost her job. Because she's got no privacy either. The call was being recorded, wasn't it? Which means she's got to behave herself. And this is the beginning of what I'm talking about. This is how they will control us. We are the last free generation. And if we don't stand up right now and say, no, I'm not going to comply with this nonsense. I'm not going to believe your lies. I'm simply, and if anybody thinks they're telling the truth, that I'm full of hot air, please come forward and have the microphone. I would love you to tell me something that the government has done that's helped you in some way. Please, there must be somebody out there that has benefited from something the government has done. But I ask this every week and I don't get any response. So I know you all know that the government is lying to you. I mean, you don't need, I can give you evidence. I've got 6 people here that are being persecuted by our government for blowing the whistle on them. Exposing their criminal behaviour. Behaviour that is benefiting foreign corporations. Right? Foreign corporations, not Australian citizens. They're supposed to be chosen by us, paid for by us, and they're supposed to look after us. They're not doing it. They're simply not doing it. They're looking after the foreign corporations. They're giving away our resources. They're lying to us about climate change, about COVID, about everything. You name it, they're not telling the truth. If they're telling the truth about anything, please let me know. I just want to know one thing that is genuine. I don't see it. Just remember, this is the thin end of the wedge. This e-safety bill that's going to deny your children access to the internet, access to information. Well, no, the children are going to be banned.
Yeah, but we're also going to be denied access. If we register and they can surveil.
Well, we will have the option of getting a digital ID.
They're already making us register. They're using the corporations to force us to ID to go in.
Correct. They're doing it all via social media companies. They're going to make the social media companies mandate a digital ID for us. That's how they bring it in. That's how they go to the next election and say, we didn't mandate a digital ID. No, that was Microsoft. No, that was, Google. So folks, please stay alert. Question everything you hear on every form of media, because 90% of it, I'm estimating, are lies. You've really got to be quite discriminating before you accept any of these lies, because that's all they are. Lies, lies, and more lies. Question everything.
Hi everybody. Just remember that human rights are absolutely crucial to protect us from tyranny, despotic governments, governments that cheat on elections. They're there to protect us from corrupt officials, and we need to cling on to them with our fingernails. Anyway, I like to sing a song just to cheer myself up. Here's a J.J. Cale song. still run. They only want you for the night. And when the morning comes at dawn,
100%.
city girls, they're all gone. You know, then I can't be sad. Feel like you've been had. Only night time brings a pride. City girl, she thinks it's right. What's poor boy gonna do if he wants a girl like you? Can't afford no diamond ring. Oh, those are the fancy things. Only thing that I can give is a song down where you live. I'll sing to you, hear the sound. City girl, please stay around. All right, here we go.
Woo! Get on, girl. Let's party.
The only thing that I can give is a song down where you live. I'll sing to you, hear the sound. City girl, please stay around.
Get down, girl. Show me what you got.
Cause when weather was such a groovy day, just say the words and we'll bring the birds down to double back. It's perfect for you, honeymoon. I they all say, come fly with me, let's fly, let's fly, let's fly. Cause when it's such a lovely day, we'll just say the words. Now listen, it's very important to stand up for human rights. They're the only thing we have to protect us from tyranny. Have a listen to what Elon Musk says about the digital ID. He said it's a digital prison. It's total control of what you're allowed to buy and sell, where you're allowed to go, what you're allowed to say and do. It's a complete dictatorship system. And there's a QR code. You can take a picture of this QR code and hear what Elon Musk is warning you. He's warning us all about digital ID. It is the most dangerous thing in the world. When they bring in the digital money, you will not even be able to buy a loaf of bread without their ability to approve or disapprove it. And you won't have any free speech. If you say anything critical of the regime, you'll be cancelled. Like many doctors have been done, many doctors have been cancelled for questioning whether the vaccinations were safe and effective, which we all know now was a lie. They've killed a lot of people, there's no doubt about it. You can look up the Australian Bureau of Statistics, you can look up the Therapeutic Goods Administration statistics. There are thousands and thousands of doctors and scientists said prior to the jabs and prior to the government's lockdowns that those policies were wrong. You can look it up on the internet. It's called the Great Barrington Declaration. The Great Barrington Declaration. There was 45,000 doctors and scientists, some from the greatest universities in the world, some of the most experienced epidemiologists, vaccinologists, biologists, experts in creating vaccination. 45,000 of them came out, signed the Great Barrington Declaration, from people from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Oxford, Cambridge. They warned us, but the media didn't tell us. They said the government's policy was wrong, and we now know it was wrong. They put a lot of people on ventilators and gave them remdesivir. Things that many doctors are saying is what killed them, not the COVID. For God's sake, be careful. If they bring in digital ID, they will have complete control over what you're allowed to do, say, buy or sell, travel. It is a slavery system. Elon Musk makes it very clear, and he's a very smart man. Whether you like him or you don't, he's right on this. It's a very dangerous thing. Don't fall for it. Tell your member of parliament he can have it for himself, but we're not having it. And if they bring in these rules and they force us to do it, I suggest you don't comply. Even if it makes life hard, don't comply. It's very, very dangerous. Any removal of free speech, medical freedom, our right to work, our right to travel, these are all human rights. We cannot let politicians who may be bought, corrupted, threatened, blackmailed, or just toe the line because they don't want to lose their pre-selection at the next elections. We cannot allow these people to take away our human rights. They are doing all of this undemocratically. They have no democratic support. Albanese only got in with 34% of the vote, and he's making laws to try and take away free speech. The misinformation laws, the disinformation laws, thank heavens they went down because of the independence. Had there been one or two independents, they'd been able to bribe them somehow with a fat government job or maybe an ambassadorship to bloody New Zealand or something. Thank God they stood firm against it, because otherwise we would be living with laws. The government can say anything that we say is misinformation and we can be sanctioned. Very dangerous. Listen to Elon Musk. Take a picture of the QR code, folks. It's here. There's a QR code. Elon Musk is warning us all. Digital ID is the most dangerous thing in the world.
With your behaviour that is merely insulting should ever be criminalised and ridiculed, easily construed as insult. Sarcasm, unfavourable comparison, barely stated ouch, is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offence.
Beside the temple there, I heard the children singing, and ever as they sang, methought the voice of angels from heaven answering, methought streets no longer rang. Hushed were the glad hosannas, the little children sang. The sun grew dark with mystery, the morn was cold and chill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, hark how the angels sing. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna to your King. And once again the scene was changed, new earth there seemed to be. I saw the holy city beside the tideless sea. The light of God was on its streets, the gates were open wide, and all who would might enter, and no one was denied. No need of moon or stars by night, or sun to shine by day. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, sing for the night is o'er. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore.
Thank you.
Fantastic!
Attention! This is a public interest announcement. You have entered a free speech zone where you have the opportunity to learn truth about how the world really works. You are welcome to freely take leaflets packed with information and opinions you are unlikely to discover elsewhere. If you fear learning the truth, or you wish to continue being controlled by the mainstream media propaganda, you are encouraged to block your ears or avoid this area completely. For everyone else, please enjoy your time in this free speech zone. Thank you. Welcome to the 313th Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. Our understanding of the world can be shaped by narratives that are formulated by those with the power to control our communication. But is this what we want? Do we want to have our lives controlled by those who operate without ethics, to amass power and wealth at the expense of everyone else? Or do we want there to be a level playing field where everyone has an equal say in where we are going? Do we want digital technologies used to track and trace everywhere we go so that governments can limit where we go and what we do while corporations advertise to us? Or do we want technologies developed and used to ensure that our communications remain private and that our personal information cannot fall into the hands of criminals or others with unethical intent? Do we want our governments to be able to hide their crimes behind the shield of national security? Or do we want whistleblowers like David McBride to be able to freely publish information that exposes government wrongdoing? Do we want to live in a world where the hierarchical systems of government and big pharma are used to hide or suppress information that could be used to improve our health and well-being? Or do we want our health practitioners to be free to provide genuine medical advice based on their expertise? Do we want our social media to act as echo chambers with algorithms designed to ensure our ignorance of important information? Or do we want our social media to operate transparently to ensure that the truth can be made widely available to everyone? Do we want to live in a society where governments and corporations work together to deny us our human rights? Or do we want to ensure that our human rights are respected for everyone? Do we want to live in a world where most people unquestioningly accept everything they are told by governments and the media? Or do we want to live in a world where most people are very capable of critical thinking and feel confident to question those who claim superior authority?
They are the authority are the problems of the situation that we are creating for themselves.
Correct.
The police aren't policing the situation properly.
Correct.
The government aren't looking after the people.
Correct. Look, I'm being filmed.
And look, what I'm saying is just total destruction of Sydney and its harbour and everything else that is demoralising us as Australia.
Do we want to live in a world where we all just wait for years until there is an opportunity to vote in an election for someone who will do nothing to benefit us? Or do we want to actively participate in figuring out new ways that will shape our world for the better? Free speech gives power to the individual. Free speech gives power to the individual. Yet a world is being engineered where the opportunity to express what we really think will become increasingly limited. At Sydney Town Hall, people come together here every Friday at 5 p.m. to express what they really think and participate powerfully in creating a world that is a better place for everyone to live. Join us every Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and do something worthwhile for everyone. The Assange movement continues. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Thank you.
It's Australian freedom of choice. Hi there. So, like always, I keep hearing people say here the media itself is lying a lot of the time. I, want to say that because all the people who work in the media, the amount of them has really very badly shrunk, what is it that those who are left have to rely on? Public relations. So a lot of them are relying on what the public relations people send them because there are too few of them to actually, write other stories. And so my view is that, and based on what I've looked at in recent times, is quite simply that when we want to say the media lies, we also have to say, or maybe say instead, that the public relations companies are lying. Because in many respects that's all that's left. And I also think that we need to find ways of getting the public relations companies not just to work for the big corporations, but they should be forced to do things on behalf of those who are not as fortunate as the big corporations.
各位朋友，大家好。会说华语的朋友，请您看过来。我今天在这边举着这个牌，为什么我要举这个牌呢？因为我的师父地身佛陀正在被中共追杀中。他为什么被中共追杀呢？因为他说出真相，他说出中共如何迫害自己的同胞，如何钳制言论自由，如何监视人民。我师父的弟子在中国境内，今年5月29日到现在已经半年了，他们被抓捕，他们被殴打，中共军警潜入寺院，殴打所有的僧人、出家人，他们手无寸铁。中共军警他全面从四川、贵州、山东、青海、青岛所有地方的僧人都被抓捕，到现在已经超过1700名地身佛陀的弟子被审查、抓捕，有些已经关在牢狱里，甚至有些已经被秘密处决。这是一个非常沉重的控诉。这个事实真相没有对外流露出来，因为他们的手机在被抓捕的时候都被没收了。各位朋友，你以为中共只对自己的同胞施加压迫吗？各位朋友，看清楚，中共他不只对自己的同胞做出暴政、血压振兴、血压震爆这些手无寸铁的僧人，他甚至将所有的罪恶输出国外。最近， 台湾的元首，还有台湾的政要，他们被中共恐吓，要斩首这些立法委员、元首、我们的总统，还有对日本的首相也说出要斩首的这种言论，这种它不是失言，它是有目的的政策。中共对各国输出罪恶，台湾每天被中共军机扰台，每天渗透台湾的社会，制造台湾社会的纷争。其实，在澳洲，中共一样渗透，中共渗透澳洲的社会，从学生开始，他利用学生组织批判小组，他们来到澳洲，并不是学习如何有独立的思想，也不是学习在澳洲有民主社会的价值，有自由的言论。他们不学习这些，而是替中共在做宣传，替中共在做暴政的输出。我在这边要呼吁各国政府，阻止中共的渗透，阻止邪恶力量的散播。我在这边更要呼唤各位的良知，请各位不要害怕，把真相说出来，为自由而战，为和平而战，为真相而战，为正义而战，为建立善世界而战。谢谢各位。
We are all Assange.